How we all doing today? Hey Repo, hey John, hey Down Under, hey Mad Dog. Saw you in there, Havoc and Pat. How's everyone doing today? We're gonna see how this goes because I live in the lightning capital of the US and it is currently pouring outside right now. So we're gonna see how this stream goes today. If you see me flinch, it's because I have no windows in this room and all of a sudden I heard a loud bang. RJ was going a bit nuts in the chat here earlier. I swear, I think he'd put the entire lyrics for All By Myself in chat. Oh. RJ, you are lonely right now. Alpha, RJ, it doesn't look good for you ever getting that 24-hour stream. I'm going to give people a bit longer to get in here. I'm going to get my hydration open. Today we're going voltage. Mad Dog, you got lots of blue smoke and nothing wired up. Have you cross-wired your brain? Oh, not all the lyrics, RJ, just your favorite spot in it. See, I can't hear that song now without remembering the Britain's Got Talent guy that did the misheard lyrics and misheard that as Obama's elf. So that just goes through my head every single time I hear that song now. Hey Cyber, how you doing? Okay. Gonna give people a few more minutes here to stumble on in. Mad Dog, we get a lot of lightning here in Florida. There are research areas and everything just to go over lightning. So, yeah. If the stream all of a sudden ends, it's because we lost power. Cyber, being alive is a good thing. I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a good thing. Oh, James, you got a hello from RJ. Let's see. Oh, RJ, James is giving you a little wave. So much lightning. I've sat here and I've been out in a parking lot where there wasn't a cloud in the sky and a car 3 cars down from me got struck by lightning. So, yeah, it's fun here. So right now we've got Australia, the continent that wants to kill you, and Florida, the state that wants to kill you. Oh, John, you worked for the mouse for a bit? The mouse is fun. I'm waiting to get season tickets back for that because they're doing so much work at Disney right now. It's not really worth going right now, in my opinion. But there's still a lot of things to do, but there's so many rides that are shut down and everything that, you know, the cost of a season ticket, even for a resident, is not something I'd be doing right now. I'm gonna try and hope that Universal opens up a 3-part. Oh, so RJ, your aunt was a friend of Goofy? And Down on Maker, yep. It's just static electricity, so very powerful static electricity, but effectively static electricity nonetheless. Okay, so, you know, gotta rep some tucks here. What we're gonna be doing today originally the plan was to do the gantry. Now, I had said, I'm going to correct myself from last stream. I had said that this little part right here, let's see, James can switch over for us real quick. This little part right here, I was like, oh, look, they changed it. It doesn't have the teeth on it anymore. So, turns out that's not the case. I was sent the Trident parts for those parts instead of the Voron. I reached out to West 3D. They're taking care of it. They're sending me new parts, but so I won't be able to fully build the gantry today. But we're going to get as far as we can and do what we can. If for some reason it doesn't come in by next stream, don't worry. We can keep building on this. I've got Linux plans and all sorts of stuff going for this. But going through here, we'll get as much of the gantry together as we can, and then maybe put a few of the blocks onto the rails. But we're going to take care of doing rails and getting what we can today. So we are going to start by doing some heat sets. So gonna power this on. Keyboard I don't need in frame, but we'll move the mouse. Let's see here, it's a tie. In Florida we have heat. It's a tie between No and Who is RJ. For those that don't know who RJ is RJ Repo Man. He's fellow Florida man. Yeah. Unfortunately for both of us at sometimes, but at the same time, I wouldn't live anywhere else. Okay. So we're going to get our M3 heat sets out. Our nice little metal piece to absorb some of that heat. And this is going to be an interesting one because it's the first one that we're doing that doesn't really have a flat surface that I can do without having to hold it. Actually, the funny thing, Pat, I believe RJ voted no. I don't think he thinks he's ever going to get one. We'll just put some constant pressure down on this. Try to get it nice and flush with the surface. Let's see here. Cyber. If they're not here by Tuesday, yeah. They've been told me that they're going to be shipping it out priority, so. Down under, you have a mental image of RJ having a mullet and wearing a wife beater. Pretty stereotypical of Florida. So Havoc's a little comment of the resident stalker. Let's see here, just going straight up and down with the soldering iron. The better you can get to vertical, the better it is for you. Cyber, I don't think I've ever seen one of those shirts with a Pikachu on it. Yeah, we do know someone that can make it, though. I'd offer to sit here and have someone make it and then show you on stream, but I don't think you want to see this in one of those shirts. RJ, you're in the works of getting your 24-hour stream going. That'd be kind of nice. So we're gonna build what we can, like I said, of the gantry. We're actually gonna start with the rear of it, and with this, it calls for 2 of our M5 roll-in nut. I still wish they would change the text on the Voron manual instead of saying M5T nut to actually specify M5 roll-ins or M5 or M3 hammerhead, since they're both technically T-nuts. But I am not part of the Voron group, so I can give my opinion, but I don't have say on that. So in this case, 2 M5s go on each side, flip over. Other side, we're going to put 2 more on each side. Mad Dog, by the way, how's your Voron build going? I haven't seen any pictures or anything yet anywhere. Oh, James, you got some praise in the chat. Yep, he's definitely the man behind the camera that makes a lot of this possible. I sat here and went through and had to help someone today with some audio issues they had themselves, and I am really appreciative of all James's knowledge with this. So you haven't started on the build yet. You had to build a bench first. Kind of what we did. Honestly, the only reason, like, what you guys see here, from here it's probably another, what is that, 20 centimeters to the edge of the desk. You don't know centimeters? No, probably more like 10 centimeters to the edge of the desk. But as far as the entire width, probably it's a little bit over 2 meters in this direction and about a meter this way. Oh, James isn't a fan of the metric system. He knows Celsius, but that's about it. He can't really do meters and centimeters and grams and liters. Okay, so we have our... So now we're going to take our AB motors. In this case, the one with the cutout. If you're looking like this is the back of your printer this way, the one with the cutout is going to go on the right hand side. But what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to take and try. That actually looks pretty lined up there. This one needs to move a bit. It's pretty close to the edge of your extrusion on here. Let's see here. The one you built 3.2 meters by 0.9 meters wide. Storage is always a good thing. So with this, just push it in the extrusion all the way until it stops, which almost puts it right up against this little brace here where our little pulley is, or our little idler wheels are. But it will stop on its own. You won't be able to push it in any further. Looking in there, got pretty close with those roll-ins. And then going in there, we need some M5 by 10s. Hey Projects, how you doing? How you feeling, man? I saw your little short earlier. Hope everything's going well. And again, when we tighten these down, we do have plastic in between this and the roll-in, so you don't want to tighten too much. Otherwise, you can crack the plastic, and then if you don't have a printer that can reprint them, it's going to be fun getting replacement parts. But just a nice snug fit so it won't really move is all you really need. Yeah, if anybody hasn't seen Project Short, you know, go check it out. He gives an update on what's going on. I would sit here and share, but to me, that is a big enough life event that is his story to share. So go watch it, because those views also really help us. Just going through and lining up. The good thing is there's little guide rails on here that kind of keep the motor centered. So Mad Dog, I'm using the one that's actually directly from Voron's GitHub for their latest one. I also have, on a second tab you can see here, LDOs. Now, to get to Voron, I just downloaded it, but you can also, if you open up the LDO Motors documentation for theirs, they have a link right to the official Voron manual, right, GitHub, in their PDF. Be careful when you're clicking these, because if you're in the revision C version or the revision A, it might not send you to the 2.4 R2. You want to make sure that, especially if you have a newer kit, that it is the R2 version, because there are differences. Let's see. Project sitting there with ice on the neck. Turn the printers back on. Hey, getting printing is always a good thing, and if the ice is helping, I haven't gone through what you've gone through yet. I'm going to need to, probably at some point, but it's always good to hear that something's helping. Let's see here. RJ, if you haven't seen Project Short, go give it a watch. It's very informative, and you know, helps projects out. So, you know, we all like helping out each other out in the community, and every little view helps towards that. James just pointed out the joke to me, and now I've got a facepalm at that. Let's see, your Mad Dog. Okay, so yeah, Mad Dog. If you want, let me show you right here. I'll see if James can post a link to the manual, because I'm on a different computer. I'm going to see if James can get that posted in here. James, if you would just want to go to, probably easier just to go to that website. Click the link. But James is going to try to get you a link, Mad Dog. Yeah, RJ, James pointed that out to me, and I was a bit slow on the uptake there. Now we have our M5x10, so we have a nice rigid rear gantry. And for those of you that haven't seen this, built one of these before or seen it in person, let me see. I'm trying to get something that we've all probably seen that I can give you guys for reference. Yes. Let's see here. Oh, let's use... This will work. We've all seen one of these. That's a standard size 104 key keyboard. And this is how big just the gantry is on the 250, on the 2.4 350. So Mad Dog, there's the official Voron manual that goes straight to their GitHub, and you can either view the manual on their page or do like I did and download it, because GitHub and PDF manuals is a nightmare because it only shows like 4 pages, and you have to scroll down to the bottom, hit show more pages, go more down to the bottom, show more pages. So I would recommend downloading it instead of looking at right on their GitHub. Okay, so our next point, we're going to move our back gantry aside. We're going to grab we only had 4 remaining of these extrusions afterwards. The one that went between the AB motors is the shortest one. Then we have 2 that are the same size and they're long. And then we have 1 that's in between the 2. These 2 ones that are the same size are what we're going to be doing next, and those are going to be going get this on camera this way. But we've got to do some more rail prep. And as you guys know, I like to do the tutorials and everything. So one of these days, I'll probably make a standalone video on tutorials. But what we're going to do is I'm going to show, again, cleaning rails, lubing rails, and everything in case somebody missed it from another stream. I'm pretty sure you guys are all here on the first stream, but first or second stream, but yeah, we're also waiting on those parts to come in, so this is quite convenient that I work this way because it helps. So we're gonna cut open, and then I'm going to grab the convenient shop towels. Again, you can use regular paper towels. I am a fan of shop towels because if I'm going to go to the trouble of doing all the cleaning, I'd like a lint-free towel that I can use. Another thing that I've heard that people have done, and this is from the PC building that I do, is people will use coffee filters because those can also give a nice lint-free cloth to clean things off, like thermal paste and everything. All right, so as you can see, I keep my isopropyl in a nice little spray bottle. For this stuff, I have a nice big thick tub of it for my resin printing. And more garbage on the floor. James is eventually going to kill me and make me clean up all of this. Okay, so we're going to go through here and just kind of soak our rail, get off any of the oil that they use during manufacturing. From what I've heard, LDO is usually pretty good about not having that, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. While we are waiting for that one to dry, we'll open the next one. Hey, Shrimp Father, how you doing? Yep. Now that we got a few people in here, I have set a pretty lofty goal for myself that, you know, I'm hoping you guys can help me with. I'd like, you know, I'm a newer channel, but I'd like to get to 100 subs by the end of the year. And if we can do that, you know, I'm going to sit here and sponsor a filament giveaway out of my own pocket, you know, as a thank you to the community and everything. So okay, so yeah, if we hit the goal, it'll be for the January 4th stream that we're doing. So, you know, tell your friends about it. Try to get those friends in and see if we can get to 100, and we'll do a filament giveaway. Yep. And then after that, the stream of the 4th, we will be off because James gets to go on vacation. James is getting to go on a very nice vacation. Okay, so we've got our little baby dropper and our tube of lube. And before I start messing with that, nitrile gloves, because grease is messy and grease gets everywhere. Okay. Kind of fitting that the inside of these gloves are orange, since that's the color of this printer. Okay, so for those that didn't see it last time, or those that want a refresher, what I'm doing, you have bearings in here that need lubrication. No, they're not flushable wipes projects. There are little tiny ball bearings in here that need lubrication, because if you don't lubricate them, it'll be metal on metal, they'll wear out, and then you have to pretty much take apart your entire printer, replace the rails, and that's not fun for anyone. So we're gonna pack those bearings with grease. There's a few different ways you can do it. You can either take the carriage off and use something like a carriage holder, and then slide those off, put grease in them, do it manually. There is liquid greases, like liquid lithium grease and everything. I know WD-40 makes some that you can just spray in there. It's a bit thinner, so you know it can sit here and wear out a bit sooner. But I'm just using some NLG2 grease, and then we're going to push this into one of the holes on the back until we start seeing it coming out the sides of the carriage. After that, we'll take it and just run it back and forth, work that grease into those bearings. Let's see, project, you just replaced the rail in the 2.4 and the so you're gonna need, are you getting a double rail that you're gonna have to do projects? That does not sound fun. So I'm just pushing through a little screwdriver in through the hole that we greased to get rid of any excess grease. Wiping off, trying to get down in that groove because we just want to get rid of any excess grease that we have. I can definitely say having the colored grease, while, you know, when I first bought it, I was like, oh, I really want the clear stuff. I am kind of happy that this has a bit of tint to it, because it makes it really easy to see where it is on these rails. Okay, so just the X-axis one. Okay, that's still bad. It's still a pain in the butt taking apart the entire tool head and everything, or taking off the tool head and everything, but I would say not as bad as if you had to do the Z rails or the Y rails. Oh, James is loving the smell of isopropyl alcohol right now. We're going to set the first one aside and do it all over again. Honestly surprised that James is not going crazy at the sound of that rail going back and forth. Well, I'm just surprised you're just not going crazy hearing it here. Oh, what headphones are those so we can recommend them? Okay, so the Sony XM5 noise canceling headphones. Yeah, apparently they have really good noise canceling. Okay. We're going to take and clean off as much of the grease as we can from our applicator. And clean off the excess here. That's kind of convenient and kind of came, see if I can show you guys that. Right out in the shape of the screw hole. Just going through and getting in, using my nail to get down in here, trying to get as much of the excess off as we can, because all that excess grease is just something waiting for dust and all that to attract. Good there. I'm pretty, from what James tells me, you guys really can't hear the lightning, but the thunder is going crazy. RJ, the nail size is whatever size your finger is. Okay. Get those off. Put our little cap back on so it doesn't dry out. Get some hydration. Now, on the Voron manual, it shows to go all the way to the ends. LDO actually has a note for this one of not to use the holes on the very ends of the rail, because it'll use the second one in, because when you have to attach your AB mounts to it, the other roll-in nuts can get in the way, and so you won't have enough room to make it in there. So pay attention to that. Don't use the very end ones. Use the next one in. So what I'm going to do is actually take our little stoppers out and move them to the end to remind me, hey, don't use these. Let's see here. Mad Dog, you just saw a video of Repo. Yep. Take a look at Pigment and imagine his beard on the back of his head. Oh. Mad Dog, are you having fun? Are you having fun at Repo's expense? Okay. With these, we need, unlike the other ones, the rails are using M3 roll-in nuts. So we want to try to get these from the center out. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and we're gonna have to do another skip, it looks like. So yeah, so if I can count properly, if 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, so one of these we're gonna have to do a skip and have 2 space, because you only need to use every other one. Let's see here. Mad Dog's having nightmares. And Repo. Ah, you showed him a video of you doing a Fabio impression. I can't believe it's not butter. Nothing like Fabio, Mad Dog. I think it's pretty hard for anyone to be like Fabio. So the guy made a living off of his looks. Let's see here. We're gonna go one there, skip one there. Skip one here. Hey Matt, how you doing? You know, if you miss a stream, great thing about YouTube is they do record the streams if you ever want to go back and watch them. But you're here now, and I want to say thank you for being out here. In this case, I'm going to skip the 2 near the end here. So that way, all the rest of them are every other hole. No, Repo, I don't think either you or I can make a living off our looks. The last person out of Florida, I think, that made any kind of living off of their looks that came out of Florida that was famous was Marilyn Manson, to my knowledge. Actually, no. Correct that. Matt Mercer from Critical Role. He's actually a Florida boy. Okay. I did. You're kidding. She's out of Florida? Apparently Ariana Grande was from Florida. Things I didn't know. The random things you can find on the internet. Down under, I think Wizards ruined D&D with 4th edition. Wow, Florida has a lot of famous natives, apparently. The Fresh Prince is from Florida. I could see Burt Reynolds. Yeah, Burt Reynolds is definitely someone I could see as being from Florida. Apparently, Happy Little Trees Bob Ross is from Florida. And I know Jimmy Buffett used to live in Palm Beach. I've actually been to his house. Nice house. Oh yeah, The Rock's from Miami. Yeah, James is having fun. James is having fun behind the camera looking up famous people from Florida. Oh, James is taking issue with the internet. James is taking issue with the internet. What's the controversy, James? The funny thing is, if anybody here has ever watched the old show MASH, you know, a movie about a TV series about the Korean War that lasted longer than the war did. The guy that played Radar actually lives in Florida. Oh, James, are you gonna give RJ what he wants? He's giving him. Sorry, Repo, I tried. Yeah. Apparently Will Smith was a snowbird. So, going through here, we're going to take our little guides, so that way we can get nice and centered on the rail. Now, the other thing is it's telling me we want the ends of our rails to be 25 millimeters from the end of the extrusions. Hey, Howie, how you doing? So, where did I put my calipers? There they are. mean, where I grew up, Marilyn Manson graduated from my high school. All right, so I'm taking this and setting our calipers to 25 millimeters. And then lock it in for if those of you that RJ, I saw my name in your post, but well, I mean, Howie, I was there, so there's definitely some beautiful people. No, I went to high school that was just normal high school here in the States. Okay, this is interesting. So, I guess we just need 25 millimeters from one end of it, because when I put this thing at 25 millimeters, there is more than 25 millimeters on the other side. Not much more, but there is more. So now comes the fun part. Fishing out the T-nuts. And then what we're going to be using is M3 by 8s. To get this seated, and I'm just going to start this very end one and snug it down so at least the rail won't move, but I'm not going to give it, as Steve would say, the ugga-duggas yet, because I'm not quite, you want to go from the center out. When you do the tightening. So now that I'm looking at this, I'm actually going to do it the other way and move the rail off to the side, because some of these are so far off I can't really get a good grip on them. So we're gonna go off to the side and try to line them up as best as we can, so hopefully when it comes time to line the screw up, they'll be closer so we can at least get our screwdriver in where the where the hole is. To shift them over. Let's see here. Oh, 10 ugga-duggas, Pat? I think 10 ugga-duggas might be a bit extreme. I mean, if I'm getting to the point where I need 10 ugga-duggas, I'm probably going to sit here and be like, hey, let's go get a torque wrench. Because at that point, they probably should have Newton meters or foot pounds listed on the spec sheet. Yeah, James just made a great suggestion. We'll just grab an impact drill. We'll just drive him in that way. Yeah, that won't cause any issues at all. Let's see here. Anyone know the benefit of extrusion backers? So, Howie, I have been going back and forth with this with people for a while. The theory is that you have a secondary metal that has a different expansion rate than, say, the aluminum extrusion or the steel that is what the rails are made of. And that can sit here and help with the rigidity of the gantries and things of that nature. Now, in theory, it's a sound thing, but it's also, you're adding another layer of variable to your expansion and everything. And down under, I think that is a very good description of those. Thanks for the answer. Okay, so we have this. But so for the people that can't see the chat or the people that are watching later, you know, down under pointed out, you know, the principle is they even out the expansion torsions of the extrusion as they heat up with a linear rail bolted them. So pretty much it makes it so the rail doesn't bend as much or expand as much as you apply heat, because even though to us a metal rail or an aluminum extrusion feels very stiff, when you apply heat, things expand. Unless it's water, then it actually shrinks. But water, when you get into thermodynamics and all sorts of stuff, is just weird. It does not follow the normal rules. Yeah, Howie, Fabrica's been having a lot of good sales lately. Havoc yells at me every time I go on their site and tell them and mention about the sales that they have going on, because he's like, I can't spend any more money. Okay, so we're going to go from our center out. Just making sure they're nice and snug. Because the big thing is we want this to hold the rail in its centered location, but we also want to make sure that the carriage does not get caught on any of the bolts, because if it gets caught on one of those as it's going over, then that can sit here and lead to skip steps or shifted layers or just a completely failed print outright. So you want to make sure that when you tighten these down, not only are they snug, but they are definitely below the surface of the rail to prevent that carriage from catching on them. And you can kind of do that just by sliding back and forth after you get them down, because you'd be able to pretty well feel. See, and that's why I'm not allowed to tell Havoc about Fabrico's sales anymore. Last time he made a filament order, his wife sat here and yelled at him. So I don't want to be the cause of Havoc getting yelled at. I don't want to be the only cause of Havoc getting yelled at. So, Howie, you just hit on the problem with the theory. You know, You go into thermostats and everything. They have the bimetal strips with two different similar metals that curve at different rates. So putting a different metal on the back of your extrusion, you know, they are going to expand at different rates. The big thing is then you get into things like, hey, which metal is stronger? Is it going to is that second metal going to resist the expansion and bending of the other metal? And so that's where you get into some of those fine nuances. Honestly, in the 3D printing community, most of us aren't doing high precision, you know, this needs to be accurate down to the micron work. Do the things like that look nice? Yeah. But at the end of the day, a bit of expansion on your rail isn't going to do much unless you're sitting here doing something like, hey, I'm going for the speed benchy world record. It's not going to make that big of a difference. Okay, so all I'm doing now is I'm just getting approximately where that 25 millimeters is. I'm trying to keep it on the same end on both of these. So that way I know that the I know that the 25 millimeter side is on the side that I have skipped two of the holes because of uneven or an even amount of holes, so I can't skip every other one and do that. So now that I have that set up, when I put these things in and I attach them to our AB mounts, I will be able to have that gap and that 25 millimeter spacing at the same point on both. Let's see here. Yeah, so down under maker, you hit it right on the head. Unless you're doing like some aerospace, like highly precision engineering, it won't make that big of a difference. You can. I have heard that, you know, when you start to get to the 350 millimeter size and bigger, you can somewhat see a difference, but for a lot of people that are going with XYs, a lot of them don't have printers that big. 350, like I said, is right there on that cusp. So, you know, I don't know of a lot of people that don't run like a print farm or something that have, say, like an Orange Storm Giga. The only person I know that doesn't have that I don't think has a print farm that has or a YouTube channel that has a one of the Fiztech Venture XLs is Harsh Reality. Good Lord, is it coming down? Yeah, so something like the size of Phoenix, when you get that big, a backer at that point might be a good investment. But if you're just doing, say, a Voron 250, you're not going to see, from what I understand, you're not going to see much benefit out of it for the money. And yeah, down under accuracy from a Giga, from what I've been reading in the community, is a hope and a prayer. Heck, what is it? Luke's Lab, I think, has an entire build of correcting all the mistakes in it that he calls the Blue Storm. But, you know, if a company were to reach out, if Elegoo were to reach out to me and ask me if I wanted to have an Orange Storm Giga, I wouldn't say no. I think it'd be kind of fun to build. I just don't know where I'd build it. Or how I'd get it out of the studio once it was done. Because that printer is bigger than the door I have right over there. Oh, we'll cut the door? You heard it. James says if we get an Orange Storm Giga, he'll cut the door so that way we can build it and then get the printer out. Yeah. Yeah, so we'll cut both doors? Okay. Now for let's see here, anybody that hasn't built one of these or a similar thing before, what I'm doing when I'm putting that screwdriver in is I'm using that to get the rolling T-nuts kind of aligned with the hole, so that way I can actually get the screws into them. Right next to where? Matt Dog built it out in the lightning. Try to go the DeLorean method and use the lightning to power the printer. It'll power it once for a very brief moment. Let's see here. What was that? Yeah, thankfully my the breaker box for the studio is right over there down under, so worst case scenario, I've got enough confidence that I could actually wire in a proper outlet for it. Down under, you've got a 1.4 meter wide door? That is a huge door. I'm gonna make fun of my own country and say that's a door that's almost wide enough to fit an American through. Because Americans went from being the tallest country in the world to being the widest. I don't know. Hey, Mike, how's it going? Let's see. We got Cody Drakars. How you doing? Thanks for stopping on by and coming on in. All right, so I'm not catching on any of the extrusions, but things did slip, so I'm gonna have to loosen these up so I can shift this rail down. Ah, you had to get an aquarium in. That makes sense now, down under. Yeah, you would need a very wide door to get that done. Yeah, saltwater aquariums can get quite big. $50 bajillion bananas. That's how wide it is in the scale of bananas. Oh, James doesn't want to work in the Imperial or the metric system anymore. He wants to work in the banana system. He wants to go live in the Banana Republic and do all of his measurements by banana. Let's see here. Yeah. Howie, you have converted James over into the way of the banana, and he wants to live in the Banana Republic now. Let's see. I mean, down under we have a calibrated banana. It's the LTT store plushie banana. I don't know if LTT still sells the banana per scale. Oh, missed one. Good there. And we're good there. James, are you going to join Howie in the cult of the banana? Are you going to join him in starting it? C is a YouTube channel if you haven't. His merch store has a calibrated CNC banana. Down under, you're gonna make me spend more money. I've still got a Frax to buy and the next printer I'm building after this. Gonna make me spend money. Yeah, and if we can get to that 100 subs and I do that giveaway, I've got to buy the filament too. It's a mess, Howie. It's a messy job, but it would be a very delicious job, Howie. Calibrating a banana. Oh, it's a bit too long. Oh, that's too short. Now I've got to finish this one. Now I've got to grab another one. We'll calibrate that one now. Good Lord, is it coming down? Yeah, for those that aren't here, so far we've been good. If the stream just sits here and cuts out, it's because we live in the lightning capital of the world and we've lost power. So, but also for those that just came in, those that are chatting, I know you've already subscribed to the channel, but those that haven't, or that may be watching and haven't done it, if you could subscribe, you know, I'm aiming to get to 100 subscribers by the end of the year. If we can do that, I'm going to do a filament giveaway that's going to come out of my own pocket. It's not sponsored by, you know, LDO or Polymaker or anything like that. I'm going to be paying for it just as a thank you to everyone that sits here and helps me get to that goal. Okay. So now that we have the rails on to the one side, we're actually going to flip the rails over. Hey James, can you go to that and actually get a link posted? I am, you know, so many people have helped us and everything. I'll give a shout out. I'll give a shout out to other makers. It's, you know, what I've loved about this community, and if I'm not willing to give back, then that's just wrong with how much you guys have been helping and giving back to me. So yeah, I don't know if he's a big YouTuber, if he's a small YouTuber, but you know, Down Under Maker is a good person, and if he likes his streams, I feel safe. Speaking of which, Down Under, I know you were talking about possibly changing stream times or something. All right, is that still... Do we have a date or anything for that yet? Cody, we are building a 2.4, a 350 2.4 R2. We are currently on our 4th stream of it. We are putting together as much of the gantry as we can today, because when I ordered the kit, the parts that came with it, which I'll show you, they sent me the AB tensioners for a Trident instead of a Voron, but West 3D is taking care of it. So yeah, Cody, if you have any questions or anything, feel free to ask. We have plenty of makers and everything here. Let's see, you cheated, got one on Marketplace already assembled. Hey, the good thing about having a Voron is once you have a Voron, you can print more parts to build another Voron. That wasn't lightning. That sounded like something fell or something. Okay, so now that we've got the backside T-nuts in, we're going to flip back over again. And this is where we had to be careful and not use these outside two, because our next step, we're going to be putting an M3 and an M5 T-nut on the end here. And the M3 is going to kind of slide somewhat underneath the rails. So if we had T-nuts here, we might not have had enough room to go under. Howie, I think I've got quite a long time before I hit that 100th stream. Let's see if we get... What did it say? Because, let's see, if we do one stream a week, that's 2 years before we hit 100? About? One year, 11 months. That'll be a lot of streams. Okay, so with this, it goes M3 nut on the inside and an M5 roll in to the outside. 100 subs. Howie, it'd be appreciated. And if it's something you want to do, I can sit here and see about getting with you, but it is not needed. I want to sit here. I want to do the filament giveaway as a thank you to all of you guys that would have subscribed. So, we might do that. I might take you up on that or something on another one, but that 100 sub one, that'd be a thank you to you guys. So I wouldn't feel right taking something from the community, taking a donation even from the community to do that. All right, we're just gonna slide these in here from the edge. And right now I'm keeping them outside from underneath the rails because they're a bit easier to manipulate that way. I'm just kind of lining them up with the edge of the extrusions right next to each other. Let me see here. So Monday night US, early next year. Not exactly sure when. Okay, down under. I would say it's Monday afternoon for you right now. Hey, Icon, how you doing? Okay, so this next part is the part that I can't do yet, because this is where these idlers would come in, but we don't have to worry about that because we can at least, well, I'm not able to get this in. Now we can hold off on this. What time is it? 8:15. Wow. Put those aside. And what we'll do now is we'll actually work on putting together the X gantry, which is our last extrusion. We can't get our belts and everything on, but okay. Oh, I didn't grab the parts out. Yay, planning. Oh, because I forgot, James is giving me a slow clap. He's so nice to me at times, isn't he? Oh no, it's Mike. You told your girlfriend to subscribe. Hey, every sub helps. You know, I've been looking into different filaments lately, and I'm actually really liking the colors that Newmaker has. Their burnt orange ABS really looks nice. So it's definitely something that I'd like to get my hands on and print with the Voron after I get it. So I'm orienting these the same way they are in the manual for you guys. So the one with the notch for the cable is on our right. The one without is on our left. And what we need is some M5 hex nuts, which those I did pull out. Oh. But we're just gonna put these in here. Now these are not friction fit, but that can be kind of nice because it makes it a bit easier to get out. Mike, it's always good when you have a partner that has similar hobbies to you. It's actually how my partner and I met. We met through an anime convention, and then found out that we have a lot of similar things. They can sew and do seamstress stuff and all that. They recently got into going back to earlier when we were talking about D&D, they make custom resin dice. And so our two hobbies kind of collided there where, hey, I can make her print her molds and everything so that way she can pour new molds. And I can also, because I have a resin printer, I can print her masters that she can sand down and get finalized for a custom dice. Cody, I have quite a few anime. Right now, the ones that I am waiting for is that time I got reincarnated as a slime. I'm waiting for the next season and movie to come out for that one. And MF Ghost, because I loved Initial D, and MF Ghost is actually a continuation of the story. And so those are the two that I'm really into right now. And then Rising of the Shield Hero. That's my poison right now. Unfortunately, this last season, I didn't sit here and get anything. Okay, so Mike, you know, yeah, partner does the painting, the writing. It sounds a lot like my partner, Mike. It's always nice when you find someone that can share those interests with you. So now we're going to take an M5, and then this one has, straight up here, the little notch for the cable. We're not going to go into the hole right next near it, but down here in this corner, and then flip it over. This is where we're going to build a bearing stack. For those of you that weren't with us last time, Every bearing stack on a Voron is the same. It goes shim, bearing, bearing, shim. Let's see here. Cody, oh, you're doing the unsub thing. Oh, well, I hate to see you go. I know. And then Mike, you pulled her into leatherworking. Leatherworking was something I tried to get into when I was younger. I am not that good at it. Okay, so now we are going to take and get this. We rotate like so. And that's going to go in there. This is going to be the fun part, because since these hex nuts don't really have friction fit, I'm going to have to hold them in as I tighten. But these are just M5 by 40s. And we lost it. So I'm going to try something different here. Bearing, shim. Friction fit on these would be a lot nicer, but it also helps if you're using the right size hex driver. That is extremely helpful when you're trying to turn a hex nut. Here. Let's see, Mike, everything you make is more functional than decorative. Yeah, the decorative side of leatherworking was the side that I never really could get into. I'm not that creative, but I also grew up around horses and everything. So, you know, I grew up around Western saddles and all that, and the work that goes into a single Western saddle is insane. I had a few friends that sat here and worked at saddle shops, because what a lot of people don't know is Florida is a really big horse place. Okay, we got those kind of tightened. I'm going to take and give just a little bit. You don't want to go too tight on these, because again, while you're tightening into a screw, you have plastic in between. So if you tighten too much, you can crack that plastic. But there's one of our mounts. The fat man just had to reach down. Down under. That is great. Oh, that is wonderful. Down under. Yeah, Cody. So Florida actually has its own breed of horses called the Florida Cracker Horse, and every single Florida Cracker Horse can actually trace its lineage back to the original horses brought over by the Spaniards. Something a lot of people don't know is Florida used to be the biggest producer of beef in the United States. And so because of that, we had a bunch of ranchers. And so ranchers needed horses. And so they kept the Florida Cracker horses going for that. We're actually one of the few places that actually has wild horses that are now actually in a protected place. It's called Payne's Prairie. Beautiful little place. And I got lucky enough to go up there a few months ago, and we actually got to see from the little ranger station and everything. They have got little binoculars and everything that you can look out, and they hadn't been there all day. We showed up there right near closing. A whole herd of horses showed up, and we were able to see them. So it was actually a really nice thing. And if you're ever out that way in Florida, you can also go to... Florida has claim to two of the oldest cities in the United States, one being St. Augustine, which is the oldest city in the U.S. And then we have another town called Micanopy, which is the oldest city in Florida after it was bought from Spain. That one has a nice history behind it because eventually Micanopy got taken over by hippies, and it's actually a really cool place now. If you've ever seen the movie Doc Holliday, that movie was entirely shot in Micanopy, Florida. Nope. And I think, let's see here. Yep, so I need an M5 by 40. Another M5 by 40. And what we need now are our 22 idlers. Because now that we've got our other two screws in, an idler, a toothed idler, actually goes in here, and an M5 by 40 goes through. This one we're going to be very careful on when we're tightening down, because we are tightening into plastic. So while the other ones we were going into metal, so we were still being careful because we had plastic in between. This one we're going to be really careful because A, we want that toothed idler still to be able to spin, but B, if you tighten that down too much, then you're going to run into the case where you can actually strip it out because you're just in plastic. The steel is harder than the plastic. As long as we sit here and get this and it can spin freely, you're pretty good on the tightness. James is making fun of me. Mike, do you like fudge factories? I mean, you can always sit here and go, if you want to visit a fudge factory, that you need to go up to Pennsylvania. Go to Hershey, Pennsylvania. All the fudge. Okay, so once again, we're going to flip this over. And this time it's going to be a bit more difficult because Unlike last time where our little hole had a stop that could kind of catch our bolt, this one doesn't. So we're going to build another bearing stack on here. No, down under fudge has multiple meanings. I think a bit of everywhere. Now, you really want to have fun, go to England and do the American tourist thing and wear a fanny pack and see what the reaction is there. Yeah, call it a fanny pack. Okay, so we're just going to go in. Nope, not that one. Into this one. And tighten that down a bit. All right, let me see here. Bill's gonna go blind, and Cody likes Hershey Park. Oh, Howie, it's a satchel. I mean, they call it a bum bag. Take and get the next one in there. I was saying, Mad Dog and Down Under. What do you call like those little tourist belt around your waist with a little pouch in front of you things in Australia? That is one thing I've never looked up. Okay. Need another M5x40 and another idler. And this time, this is going in here. Something you shouldn't wear. Mad Dog, I won't disagree with you there. Ah. I would say it's America. Of course, we're the ones that have to call it something different. Yeah. No, Mad Dog, you know, I think people should wear it all the time. That way I know who to avoid with here in Florida because they're the tourists. Okay, so we have our X gantry mounts that'll X mount our gantry to our Y extrusions. I'm going to set those aside. and have fun with another rail. Grab some more. Shop towels. Being a redneck with cowboy boots and a ponytail, nah, Howie, you can survive anywhere in the South with that look. Heck, in a lot of places, that's a Sunday best. Funny thing is, Texan tourists, especially the oil company guys, coming to Western Australia and explaining that Texas fits into Western Australia a bunch of times, and it's not really that big. Yeah, Texas, there is a bit of ego out there. Yep. You know, they say everything's bigger in Texas, and I guess that includes the ego as well. Yeah, Texas Buc-ee's is huge. Yeah, I know. For those of you that have never been to a Buc-ee's, it's a US petrol station that I think the smallest one has 100 pumps. Let me see here. Let me see if I can pull up a image of one. Images. That's apparently what Texas think is a gas station. That store is the size of a Walmart. Yeah, and that's a small one. Okay. Time to get out some more gloves. Yeah. Their fudge is pretty good, though. Their jerky is really good. Yeah, the sandwiches are hit or miss. James is a real big fan of their barbecue sauce. So going through here, you know, I've been working with these MGN 9 rails. The MGN 12 rail is huge. Like you and the guy she tells you not to worry about. Yeah, unfortunately, Down Under Maker, after I finish this stream, I don't stream in my house. We stream at my producer's house. So after this, I get to drive an hour home. So I don't want grease all over my car. Yeah, but Howie, I will give Bucky's one thing. You may need that stack to get from the pump to the bathroom, but those bathrooms are immaculate. Oh, like the person that sits and the person that wears the Bucky's mascot outfit gets paid something like $35 an hour. Yeah, 35 US dollars. It's like, cool. You're going around wearing a fur beaver suit. Granted, sometimes you're in the summer heat of 100 degrees, making more than $60,000 a year. That's a pretty nice gig. Oh, Havoc. My producer says he has to fight you now. Yeah, Down Under, it's actually like, you know, as big as it is and everything, they pay their people good. The funny thing is everyone makes fun of Waffle House for, you know, like the awful waffle and stuff like that, but you got to give them credit. They pay their employees. I don't know why I took my gloves off already, but now it's time to be extra careful. Howie, the suit is cooled. See, that makes it even better. Making over 60 grand a year to wear a cooled fursuit. James just pointed out it's like probably not the best way to put it. Oh yeah, you sit here and get in construction here in the States and they can earn some bank. But are you talking about the traffic light people? Oh, the flaggers. Yeah, those flaggers here even, you know, you can make a decent living. It's the big thing is you know, you got to be willing to be out in the heat and everything. Mike, I wouldn't doubt that you have a fursuit. Yeah, no, those Waffle House employees, the reason we have the Waffle House index for hurricanes here is when I say they are well compensated to be out there during in like right after a hurricane, they pay them that wage normally, and then they pay them even more when they're actually taking care of a hurricane. Waffle House takes good care of their employees. That's why you see so many people that are willing to work there for so long. So for those of you that haven't heard of it, the Waffle House Index is something that originally started as a joke, but it's actually become a thing. And it's a way to tell how critical damage or how critical an emergency there is in parts of the US based on if or not the Waffle House restaurant is open or what version of the menu they are serving. And so, you know, like here in Florida, if you live in a town and the Waffle House is closed, it means get the heck out of there. Because if Waffle House isn't willing to be open, you should not be anywhere near that city. Let's see here. Down under. Got to drop stuff off the thrift store and get the pool water tested. I'll have fun with that. I would say, you're not doing the self-test kit, or do they not allow those chemicals out there? Let's see. In your feet in the heat long days. Howie, the Bucky's mascot, definitely earns it, but he gets paid well for it. If there's your Waffle House index is if the sign turns out, you bug out. Another way to do the Waffle House index. Okay, page 101. Let's see if there's anything. Nope, so we don't have anything new on the LDO guide until we get to page 104. Take our rags, get them off the table. Grab this, and then we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hey, for once we actually have it evened out. 9, and we need the M3 T-nut. M3 roll-in T-nut. I don't think RJ sleeps. I don't even think he knows what sleep is. Okay, I'm sorry if I go quiet here real quick. I'm just concentrating on lining up these roll-ins. No sleep for the wifey. RJ, how can you do that to your wife? I'm pretty sure she deserves just as much sleep as you do. Wait, did I count that wrong? I counted that wrong. We're still gonna have a gap. That counted wrong. Let's see here. Mike, yours just keeps talking while you lay there. So, Cody, I know a few of the Vorons actually have like built-in spacers and things of that nature to actually hold T-nuts and everything. And those look pretty cool. I'm kind of wondering if they will ever do something like that for the Vorons, but I think with the 3 different sizes, it makes it a bit difficult. To sit here and make it, because like for instance on this 350, you know, I'm having to skip a space, but if I went down to a 300, it might actually be every other space. So now with this one, I need my calipers back again because we need to go 15 millimeters from the edge. So again, we're just going to take our calipers, loosen it up, and go out to where 15 millimeters. And then tighten down our little nut to lock in that distance. And get it there so we can get approximately where our roll-ins are going to be. Make it nice and easy. Line them up. And then with this one, it is M3 by 8s. Once again, I'm going to get the last one here started, but not tightened down. And again, they have a different set of rail aligners that are a slight bit bigger for these MGN 12 rails. But once we get that kind of lined up, before we start tightening things down, we're going to get that in one on there, and not tight, but snug, so hopefully the rest of them don't move on us. So Cody, no, this is an LDO 2.4 kit, so it is not self-sourced. I decided to go with this kit after hearing the community talk so much about how well their kits were put together. This is actually the first kind of DIY printer that I'm putting together. I have done resin printing in the past, and I have an Ender 3 V2, but going straight into this, I was kind of, let's go with something where I'm not having to worry about, did I get the proper nuts and everything, or making sure that I ordered the right amount of nuts or bolts or spacers, or trying to figure out what's the difference between an MGM 12C and an MGM 12H rail. So I decided to go with the LDO kit, and I can tell you, as a first-time builder of these Vorons, it has actually been very nice and well put together. Let's see here. Okay, now that we have all those in, I'm just going to double check again and make sure that we still have our 15 millimeters. There we go. So once again, we're going to go from the center out. I know I keep repeating myself, but like I said, I'm doing these streams not only for the entertainment of those of you that have built these before, but also for those that are new to the hobby, like myself, that I'm taking the knowledge that I've built up through manufacturing and watching other people build and kind of condensing them all into one little build. Okay. So we now have our MGM-12 rail on the X extrusion. Now with this, we're going to turn it so that the carriage actually faces us. And on the top side, we're going to place 2 M5 roll-ins on each side. Yeah, now Cody, so far from everything I've seen in the community and everything, LDO puts together a very good kit. So if you ever decide, hey, you want to build one, you pay a little bit more for them, but the attention to detail they put into them, the pre-done wiring harnesses, the having an extra page to show, hey, we made these changes on this page of the manual. This is the thing to change. The attention to detail they put in is amazing. So now that we've gotten our top 2 in, we're going to flip over, and a single one goes on the bottom side. Cody, a Trident is a very good build. It's actually, from what I understand, a bit easier to build than the 2.4, so it's a bit more beginner friendly. I didn't take the beginner friendly advice and decided, hey, I'm going to build a 2.4 because I'm building, I want to print things like helmets and stuff like that, which a Trident can do. Doing research, having that lower center of gravity in the 2.4 versus a Trident can help with stability and all that. But it's also, I don't know what it is. I like the concept of the flying gantry. That's the main thing for me. It's, no real reason. Like, there was some research that went into it, but at the end of the day, the big deciding factor was I just like a flying gantry. I like the way it looks. Sometimes when you're in a hobby, it's, you may not do the best thing for what you're doing, but if you do something you enjoy, or you pick something out because, hey, that's what you like, there's no issue with that. James and I have a friend that just got into 3D printing, and he just wanted to print little miniatures, but he didn't want to get into resin. I told him to go get a bamboo because they just work. It's, he doesn't want to get into tinkering with the machine and all that. He didn't care about the closed ecosystem. He just wanted something he could load a model in and it would work. And that's something Bamboo is good at, is they do just work. Okay, so we're going to take these and flip these. So again, the carriage is facing me, and we are going to take our attachments and line them up like so. But what I'm going to do first is kind of try and make sure that I've got those T-nuts somewhat lined up. Boy, is that a tight fit. Oh, I'm getting the "that's what she said" from James. Oh, down under, you were listening to the car and realized it did, YouTube did its buffering thing and you're 30 minutes behind. I hate that it does that. I don't know when it started doing that, but yeah. Hey, I have it on in the background and all of a sudden you're 10, 15, 20 minutes behind for some reason. Okay. So on this top side, on the right-hand side of the gantry, that is actually where our cable chain is going to go. On this side, we use a bit longer screws. We use M5 by 16s. And again, just like everything I say when we're going into plastic, you want to be snug, but you don't want to go super tight, because the last thing you want to do is crack your plastic pieces. So on that side, it's M5 by 16s. On this side, we're going to get them lined up. So on this side, it's going to be M5 by 10s. And this side doesn't have anything extra to go through, and that's why you don't need the extra length on the screws. Now, this is page 104, and I know in LDO they have a special note for page 104 that instead of using the precision spacers, to actually grab these black M5 washers, and their entire purpose of it isn't because, hey, it's more precise or anything. No, it's use these because they look nicer. Which, you know, is a level of detail. I'm like, hey, I can appreciate that. You know, sometimes it's just, hey, you do something because it looks pretty. And there's nothing wrong with that. We're going to grab our M5 by 30s on this one. Grab 2 of our washers. Now, typically with washers, you will have, if they're stamped, you'll have a flat side and a smooth side, because they're punched out of a sheet of metal. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the side that's actually flat and put that towards our printed part. And then let's see here. And these are just going to go in the remaining hole that lines up with those rolling nuts on the bottom. And then if you did everything proper, this rail should be fairly centered between, let me see if I can get a good view of that, between those two mounts. So you should have a pretty even gap on both those sides. But that's the entire X gantry. Now, big thing they want you to do is check your work. So you should see a toothed idler up front here, and you should be able to see one of the roller pulleys here. On the other side, the tooth idler should be down low, and the bearing idler should be up high. If they're not that way, you reverse something, or you put or possibly even reversed these. So remember, tooth idlers are on the inside, bearing idlers are on the outside, and they alternate top to bottom on each side. So at this point, it would normally be, hey, we're going to attach this to our Y rails, but since I don't have the right pieces in the end, we're not going to do that. We should be getting those in hopefully by next stream. So at this point, I think we're at a pretty good stopping point for this stream. If anybody has any questions or anything, or, you know, I'll say it again, you know, the likes, or if you haven't done so already, leave a like. It shows that engagement to YouTube. Sits here, makes it so that those watch hours comes in. You know, if you're here and you're not chatting and you haven't subscribed, please do so. I am working on if we can get to 100 subscribers by the end of the year, then when we do our stream on January 4th, we will be doing a filament giveaway. And that one will be coming out of my own pocket. It won't be sponsored or anything of that nature. You know, just like so far, everything on this channel, none of this has been provided to me or anything. I've sponsored all of this myself. I bought the audio kit. I bought the printed parts from West 3D. You know, YouTube Down Under Maker, he can attest to this, and if Projects is still here, he can attest. Cameras are not cheap, but we've been doing this because I want to pass on, you know, the build experience I'm having with people. Hopefully get some more people into the community, give some entertainment to those that are already here. Okay. James says, "Good, you can get a good camera for cheap. However, yeah, you can get a not great camera for cheap, but he has high standards. He's high maintenance." But other than that, you know, leave that like, leave the subscribe. I'm not really doing videos yet. It's just streams, so I don't know how much that bell icon does for me, if anything. Now, James is working on kind of cutting together our streams to do like a highlight reel type thing of going over all the informational sections. He's going to be putting one of those out here soon. So Cody, that overhead shot is from a Sony Alpha 6100, and we have a 50mm lens on it. We literally have a curtain rod just going across the room, and it's mounted to the rod, just permanently face down. So yeah, so if you hit the bell, you'll get notified when we start our stream. So far, we've been pretty good about being on time, right at 7 o'clock Eastern. But if something were to ever happen, the bell would help. Like if we went early or something and it was a last minute decision, hitting that bell would keep you notified of that. Yeah, or if we put community posts. But yeah, But no, Cody, that camera's nice. The one you're seeing in the front, that's actually an Insta360 Link 2. That we, PTZ, and that one we picked up on sale, but it's just a webcam that's mounted on a tripod, and it's been doing great. Oh, down under. I'm laughing because I've been there. Oh. Well, down under, I could say that makes me feel mildly proud, because it means at least I'm hoping that you sat here and forgot your pool sample because you were so entertained by the stream. But Mad Dog, hopefully we can see some of your Voron build here soon. And this stream, you know, the poll was about RJ. Mad Dog, I think I got you on the next stream for the poll. Other than that, I am working on setting up a Discord channel. So things are coming along. I mean, Mad Dog, it's not, if it didn't have P in it, it wouldn't be a pool. Then it would just be an ool. So, I mean, he's got half the ingredients there, right? So, you know, I'm going to work with some people to get that. Havoc, yeah. We can get some pictures of your Voron. I know you're building that one with all the Vitali CNC parts, and from what I've seen, it's been looking like it's going pretty good, as much as you curse it out. But so far, I don't think you really cursed out your Voron. I think it's mostly been your Ender. But other than that, you know, we'll be here again next week, 7 o'clock. If all goes to plan, and, you know, if we don't by chance sit here and get a thunderstorm that takes us out next week. But hopefully soon I'll be able to post, like I said, post those Discord links. So, you know, we'll have a place to chat with in my community. But other than that, you know, I'm in a lot of the other Discords if you need to reach out to me. I'm in Down Unders. He actually has a very nice Discord. And if you guys haven't, you know, we had the people I saw here today that, you know, I've been watching their streams. Down Under Maker, he does an amazing stream. The last one I saw of his, he was working on I think it was the Prusa Core 1 or the Core 1L. And, you know, projects in Dad's Garage. I don't know when he's going to be streaming next, but, you know, go ahead and give him some views. It would really help right now. Mad Dog, I almost had to sail here. There was a point where, you know, I've got to tell James about it, but the road actually sat here and almost covered my car, and it's from new construction. So hopefully I'm going to be taking a different route home, so hopefully I won't be sailing home. Yeah, it is. So yeah, hopefully I won't be sailing home, because I've got a hybrid car, and battery plus water, deep water, does not mix well. I don't have Hummer EV money. I don't have Hummer money. If I had Hummer money, then I'd just be buying a Rivian. I'd still be buying a Rivian if I had Hummer money. All right, but other than that, I will see you guys next week, and hope you all have a wonderful day. And we'll switch to the outro screen.